most seaside towns in the UK. If you're one of my subscribers or viewers from outside the UK, has a number of these. Look at that absolute monster of a cargo ship being unloaded. Welcome to Felixstowe. If you're looking for a great day out in what I believe is one of England's most underrated seaside towns, then this video is for you. Felixstowe has changed a lot over the last 20 years and changed for the better due to the amount of investment that's been placed in the town. When you hear of Felixstowe, you often think of the ferry port and terminal, but Felixstowe is so much more than that. And my challenge in this video is to show you why Felixstowe is a great day out for you and all the family. So I'm going to take you right the way along the length of the beach, from one end to the other, so you can see what Felixstowe has to offer. We'll explore these beautiful gardens, which I'll tell you a little bit more in a moment, and I'll tell you a little bit about the history of Felixstowe before we get into the nitty-gritty of what the town actually looks like. Okay, so at the top of the high street, my car is parked in the car park directly in front of us over there. It was £3.90 for 4 hours. This is the main pedestrian shopping centre for Felixstowe. There are a number of roads with little mini supermarkets and shops that are offshoots of this road, but this is the main pedestrian area that walks right the way down to where you can get access to the beach. So Felixstowe is a really easy place to get to. It's 94 miles northeast of London, and the A14 dual carriageway takes you directly into Felixstowe. It's also 69 miles from Cambridge and 60 miles from Norwich. So I'll just show you very quickly what this area has to offer. I'll take you and show you some menus, so you can, if you want to eat in the town, you can see what's available. We'll have a look at the breakfast menu there for All Things Nice Cafe, see what's available there. That's the times of opening, so it's cash only. Very extensive menu though. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. This is like typical prices for Felixstowe. This is catered for children as well. Sandwiches, main meal, shaky potatoes, hot and cold drinks. Okay, so I'll speed this up a little bit now as we walk directly in front till we get to the top of the hill, which leads down to the beach area. So Felixstowe lies on the beautiful East Suffolk coast, south of Lowestoft, Southwold, Aldborough, Dunwich and Walberswick, to name but a few. I posted on this channel videos of Southwold and Aldborough as alternative days out to Felixstowe, so please do check those out if you haven't seen those videos yet. I'm going to take you, before we go down to the beach, into the Felixstowe Seafront Gardens. I'll tell you a little bit of history about the Seafront Gardens, and from there we'll make our way down to the beach. So the Seafront Gardens, as you can see, are newly restored, and they sit on cliffs between the town centre and the beach. There are 8 Grade 2 listed gardens, of which are of significant interest and give the town its title, the Garden Resort of East Anglia. These beautiful gardens were created over 100 years ago as a result of the popularity and fashion in late Victorian times for visiting coastal locations in pursuit of improved health and relaxation. The interconnecting gardens stretch for almost a kilometre along the promenade, with a significant proportion of the original planting still surviving and original path layout little altered from the time it was created. As you can see, it's just up from the beach. As you can see, it's a really important building for Felixstowe. Augusta Vicaria, Empress of Germany, Queen of Prussia, stayed here in, can't read that date, 1891, I think it says. But you can see there's different levels of the gardens. You saw the top part at the start of the video. This is like the middle section, so I'll let you explore those gardens yourselves if and when you want to come to Felixstowe. But I would certainly recommend a little stroll through there. There are plenty of benches, as you can see, to bring a picnic. It's literally just off the seafront itself. Felixstowe can trace its origins back to before Roman times, and there's been various Roman artefacts that have been found in and around the town over the years. Due to its location being so close to the main continent of Europe, and Europe is about 200 miles in that direction across the North Sea, with the coast of the Netherlands, Felixstowe has always been important in the defence of England. 7 Martello Towers were constructed here in the early 1800s, and 4 still remain today, and one was used as recently as World War II, where anti-aircraft guns were positioned. Felixstowe became a popular tourist and seaside town in the late 1800s, and it was even visited by the German imperial family, as I just showed you earlier. It was at this time that Felixstowe was the first British town to adopt beach huts, as you can see some here, as stationary huts, and some of the original huts along the front at Felixstowe date back to 1885. Felixstowe is known as the home of British beach huts. Prices for a beach hut along the front range from 20 to 45,000, so not as expensive as Southwold, where one was sold recently for over £200,000. You've still got a lovely outlook though, a lovely summer's day. It really is a nice place to come and relax in your beach hut. You can actually rent them as well if you want to. Some of the beach huts along the front do have signs on them. Oh, it says there, home to UK's oldest beach huts. There you go. It used to look like in the 1900s. If you look in front, you can see Felixstowe Pier. The pier was opened in 1906 and was originally 2,640 feet long, so nearly 1 kilometre long, and was rebuilt in 2017 at a cost of £3 million. During World War II, the majority of the pier at the time, one of the longest in the country, even its own train, was demolished to prevent it being used as an easy landing point for enemy troops. After the war, the demolition damage was not repaired and the pier never, sadly, regained its original length. It is, though, a main attraction on the seafront, and I'll show you shortly. You can't, unfortunately, anymore walk to the end of the pier due to the usual health and safety regulations in the UK. See some things on offer here. That's your prices up the top there. So latte £2.90, cappuccino £2.90, water £1.95, tea £2.40. Yeah, for a seaside front, really good prices. Which are different ice creams. Hello. You can see the Blue Flag Award for the beach for 2025, which means it's clean, it's litter free, as you can see that anyway, and it's also safe to swim. You can see a couple of people swimming out there. So no risk of paddling, swimming, or the children playing along this part of the coast. We've also got free public Wi-Fi as well. I mentioned the port before. You will see it shortly, but as you can see, it doesn't interfere at all with the relaxing part of the town, or the holiday part of the town, day out part of the town. The port itself is a tourist attraction because people love to see the huge cargo ships come in and out. We'll have a look later, see if we can actually see something of that. But as I say, don't think of it just as a port and ferry terminal, because I mentioned earlier, it's so much more than that really. Boardwalk Cafe and Bar, the deck, coffee, ice cream, sandwiches, fish and chip shop there as well inside. Let's have a look at the menu. So typical prices for this part of the world: cod £10.50, battered sausage £5.30, chips £3.30 or £4.30, kids meal £5.95. So most seaside towns in the UK, if you're one of my subscribers or viewers from outside the UK, has a number of these. Amusement arcades, video games, very typical of a typical English seaside town. It's like a proper casino in there for 18s only. So the object of this, if you are from outside the UK, you put your 2p's in, and as you win 2p's back, you get tickets. And the tickets you can exchange for little gifts like key rings and stickers and things like that, really. It's a small thing for the children. The Boardwalk Cafe. So the opposite side of the fish and chip shop. We've got breakfast, sandwiches, hot drinks, burgers, favourites. No prices on there though. Proper licensed bar. And you've also got your times of opening. By day, by night, by sea. And that's your seating area on here. Or inside if the weather's not too good. Extension of the bar outside as well. So that's the end of the pier, but as I mentioned earlier, we can't walk down there sadly. It seems to be a home for the seagulls now. It's the other side of the pier. It tends to be more popular this side, with more beach huts. So that's the pier. So as you can see, along the seafront, Felixstowe is much more of a traditional, typical English seaside town than Southwold and Aldborough. So neither of those two resorts have piers or amusement arcades. This is slightly different in that respect, but same weather, same type of beach, same fish and chips, which I absolutely love, as you probably found out on my last video from Aldborough. And you can just have as much fun really anywhere along this part of the Suffolk coast. I mentioned in my last video that the East Suffolk coast tends to go under the radar when it comes to holidays and day trips and days out. A lot of people, if they're not going to the southwest of England, like Dorset, Devon, Cornwall, up to the Lake District or the beautiful Northumberland part of England, they tend to go to the likes of North Norfolk and the Norfolk Broads, which are beautiful, beautiful places. For example, Hunstanton and Cromer. But the East Suffolk coast tends to go under the radar. I'm not quite sure why, because so we have got some really, really lovely seaside towns and resorts and lots of lovely villages and towns to explore when you go inland from the coast. So don't underestimate East Suffolk if you're looking for somewhere different to stay, because I would definitely highly recommend it. I always remember these type of seaside stands from my childhood: bucket and spade for the beach, fishing net, a ball, little windmills. Yeah, lots of memories come flooding back when you come to these places when you're a lot older. Many a happy time has been spent in this part of the world with my family when I was young. If you've got a favourite memory of a English, British seaside town or resort, please put it in the comments below. Tell me what made that particular place special for you. Really interested to find out. If you've got any recommendations of places for me to visit, not just in Suffolk but anywhere in England that is worth showing the rest of the world, then please do put down in the comments below. If you fancy a workout on the beach after you've had your fish and chips or a little bit of rock climbing, that's the place to come. So just along by the Ferris wheel on the front is the Regal Fish Bar. I've heard from a number of people that they do the best fish and chips in Felixstowe, so it's just a 5-minute walk from the pier, right on the front and right next to the casino. Ferris wheel on the front, so adult £6, child £5. Get family deal, 2 adults, 2 children for 20. 2 adults, 4 children, 25. And it's also wheelchair accessible and dog friendly, which is really, really good to see. You'd also get a brilliant view of Felixstowe, container ships coming in and out of the port and the whole of the area. So really interesting fact here for my older UK viewers. It says the famous Sir Billy Butlin built and opened an amusement park on this site in 1932, so the famous Butlins. One of his earliest resorts, dodgems and wild animals, including a boating lake with an island in the middle inhabited by monkeys, were among the attractions. The iconic Big Dipper at the front of the park was removed in 1976. Wow. So right on this area. So if you're from the UK and never been to a Butlins, then this is really where it all started. Another important part that Felixstowe played in the history of the UK is that Wallis Simpson stayed in Felixstowe in 1936 in order to claim residence for her divorce from Ernest Simpson so that she could marry King Edward VIII. The divorce and marriage sparked the abdication of King Edward VIII in the same year. So an interesting fact for you. I'm sure she didn't stay in a beach hut though, and I'm sure she possibly stayed in that lovely old hotel we saw in the distance. So this walk we're taking from right in the distance there on that curve past the pier, walking along the front. I'm taking you at the moment to Languard Fort, which is another tourist attraction in this part of Felixstowe. It's a good heritage trail really from that Ferris wheel right the way along here, and there's lots of boards, as you can see, dotted right the way along to give you a bit of history about this coastal front. Again, it mentions that Martello Tower there. In 1914, Germany invaded France and Belgium and Britain declared war. Martello Tower P was finally in the front line of a real war as a signal station intercepting secret German radio messages. You can see that through the glare. Really interesting. So I'm not going to stop at all the boards because if you're coming here yourself, you can explore those yourself. But, you know, these little things give you a little bit more history and background to things that you see that you sometimes wouldn't give the time of day to. And the Martello Towers were built really, as I mentioned earlier, in the 1800s to prevent any invasion from Napoleon and his forces during the Napoleonic Wars. At the far end of the beach, as you can see, is Languard Nature Reserve. It is quite extensive and encompasses the whole of Languard Fort. The walk from the pier has taken me about 30 minutes, I guess. But there are car parks right the way along the front, so if you were starting your visit to Felixstowe where we started, back at the gardens and along the front there to the left of the pier, you can easily jump in your car and drive to the other side of town and park up if you want to visit the fort, because I appreciate not everyone's going to be able to walk that distance, but there are plenty of car parks, of what I've seen, plenty of car parking spaces all the way along the way. This is historical Languard Fort, the last place to repel a land invasion of England in 1667. I'm not going to go inside today because I haven't got the time, but let me take you to the entrance and show you times of opening, the prices, and also what's in store for you. If you're coming and you want to visit the fort, you can visit www.languard.com for opening times and dates. So the Languard Fort itself was originally known as Languard Fort and was built in 1540 at the mouth of the River Orwell to protect this part of the English coast from invasion, and is on the site of the last opposed invasion of England in 1667 by the Dutch. The current fort was built in the 18th century and modified in the 19th century. It's currently owned and managed by the English Heritage and gives you an idea of, one, what it looks like, and secondly, the opening times. So if you're a member of English Heritage, it's free, or £7.50 for adults, £4.50 for children. I'm not going to go inside the fort today because I haven't got time, to be perfectly honest, but I thought I'd bring you here to show you what it was actually like. There used to be a moat, I think, around it, and a little bit of history on the outside. That's how it used to be at the harbour of Harwich. It gives you a bit of a timeline as well there, from King Henry VIII right the way along to Queen Victoria. That'll be your ticket office there on the right hand side. Just along by the fort is Felixstowe Museum, but sadly that wasn't open today when I came. You can see the cranes of the port from Felixstowe town, but along the coast, well out of sight of where you would spend your traditional day at the seaside, is Felixstowe Container Port. It's Britain's largest container port, handling 48% of Britain's containerised traffic. You just look at the size of that monster cargo ship they're unloading there. Everyone in Britain will have something that's come through this terminal. Cars to computers to soap. Felixstowe Port is the 8th busiest container port in Europe and the 43rd in the world. You can see Harwich in Essex, which is directly opposite there, Felixstowe terminal. You can also get a ferry from one to the other. On a typical year, Felixstowe terminal and port handles 2,000 ships, 4 million containers and 260,000 lorry trailers. You can also see a couple more container ships in the distance there. But people do this as a typical day out. You can see people sitting down on there just watching the ships coming and going and being loaded and unloaded as they come from all parts of the world to Felixstowe in Suffolk. So I'm going to walk along this part of the coast now, away from the port, and head back towards the town to make my way home. So as we make our way back to town, walk behind the fort. This gives you a little bit more information in relation to Languard Fort during World War II and the prominent part it played in the defence of the realm. I walked back from the fort and pier along the beachfront to show you what this side of the pier actually looked like. So just along from the pier, as you can see there, Felixstowe Seashore Village, traditional timber huts, seafront 35,000, middle row 30, sea row 22,000. So you fancy a beach hut in Felixstowe? They are for sale, right on water's edge. It's about 1 o'clock at lunchtime now, so a lot more people here than there was when we arrived first thing this morning. It's really lovely to see actually. Couples and people sitting around having a break from work, or families just sitting and chilling by the beach. Most of them eating fish and chips or a picnic, which is really lovely. So we come full circle. I hope you've enjoyed this whistle-stop tour of Felixstowe on the beautiful Suffolk coast. I'd refer to Felixstowe as a seaside resort rather than a town. On my videos I posted of South Wold and Aldeburgh, and please do check those out if you haven't done so yet, I refer to those as seaside towns, whereas Felixstowe, for me, gives the vibe more of a resort, with its Ferris wheel, its amusement arcade, its pier, its attractions, its theatre, its fish and chip shops. But it's definitely something for everybody. Done a lot of walking today. According to my watch, I've walked 8 miles putting this video together. But it would be remiss of me not to thank SkyTech Cambridge for the use of the drone video in this footage. SkyTech Cambridge is a follow content creator and did me a massive favour today to save me bringing my own drone, so thank you very, very much for that. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give me a thumbs up like. That will really help my channel to grow. The reason for that is the more people that interact with the video, the algorithm for YouTube pushes it out to more people, and that helps me to grow my channel. If you've also enjoyed the content, then please do consider subscribing. Apart from South Wold and Aldeburgh, I've also posted videos of beautiful Framlingham, my hometown, with Ed Sheeran's Castle on the Hill, and also Bury St Edmunds in West Suffolk. So if you're looking at Suffolk as a base for a holiday or some day trips, then please do check those videos out as well. But thank you very, very much for watching this one, and I'll catch you on the next video. Cheers.